G'day, welcome back to another episode of TOGL. At the end of the last episode, I was telling you that I was getting the slasher blade straightened. Well, there we go. So, I know that's got a bend in it, but basically the way it is that this here needed to be parallel with this part right here. So that's been straightened out along with the other one. But what I need to do now is I've got to get these edges ground down, because that edge, that's shocking, that's buggered. So I've got the grinder and I'm going to get them ground down so that they're nice and sharp and ready to go. So I'm just going to show you a couple of things with that. As you can tell, I'm not actually up at the block today. I'm down at our rental. It's a beautiful day. I just want to get a few things done around here. I'll head back up the block tomorrow. Now, angle grinders. Anyone that's had an angle grinder knows that you need that special little tool with the two little hooks to undo the ring, and they're always getting lost. You can try and chain them up to the cord if you've got a corded one. On the cordless it's a little bit more difficult, but when I went into Bunnings the other day, a young fella in there showed me this, which I thought was fantastic. This one here, what you got to do is just, maybe you can see that, you just got to flip this little lever down and then you can just undo it. I'm not doing a very good job of this. There we go. Then you can just take it straight off. You don't need a tool. So it's just that little ring, and it's just got this little clip that flips up. So you just replace the one that you've got with one of these. I think they're about 10 bucks. If it ends up on really tight and you can't still undo it with your fingers, you'll see that when you fold that down, there's two holes there. So you can still get a tool into it if you've still got your tool. Great idea, 10 bucks. I never have to worry about making sure I know where the tool is for the grinder. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that. I thought that was really, really good. Let's get on with some grinding. Okay, those edges are now looking a lot straighter and a lot sharper. That's going to run a whole lot better now. So the next task that I needed to do now that those blades are done is getting the bandsaw blade sharpened. I've got all the bits for that. I've not set that up before, so I'm going to have a look at that. I'll get it all set up. Once I've got it set up, then I'll show you how it works, and we'll get the bandsaw blade sharpened as well. Okay, well, I've got the bandsaw blade all set up, the sharpener all set up now. Probably took me about an hour. Weather's getting worse, that's why the jumper's back on. But anyway, let's just have a quick look at this. So this is the sharpener with the blade all in position, ready to go. The only thing I noticed was that I had to do a bit of tweaking with this little bolt right here, because it seemed like that bolt, it's in upside down at the moment, but when it was in the other way, it wasn't long enough to actually stop. Because it was so short, it would push the blade further along, and then this wouldn't line up on the tooth. So I flipped that upside down. The guys, Jeff, maybe if he sees this, can tell me maybe if I've set something up wrong there, but it lines up now anyway. So we'll get this going and we'll see how we go. G'day. Well, we're back up on the block again this morning, and it's a beautiful sunny day. A little bit windy, the wind keeps picking up and dropping off, but that's okay, we can work around that. So as I showed you yesterday, I got those blades sharpened. So today I'm going to get them put on, and then we'll get the slasher hooked up, and we might just do a little bit of slashing around the original area, which is going to be that house side area. I won't try and take it over to the other paddock yet, because we have had rain the last few days. It's a little bit boggy getting across that track. So I'll just do some slashing in here, just a little bit. And then I'm going to get to work on that track. I'm determined to make the river today. So hopefully you'll see some footage soon of the river. Anyway, let's get these blades on. Okay, not too bad, they're on now. Next trick though is flipping that sucker back over. So I'll get the tractor and we'll flip that over, and then we'll get it all hooked up. Tractor's too close. I have to move it back a bit. just ever so slightly crooked. I literally need these wheels to be just an inch this way. So I'm going to have to disconnect all this and realign myself. Like I said, things don't always go to plan. Well, I've had quite a productive morning. Went and got the tractor. I had it over in the other paddock. So I brought it back, we got the blades on, that's good. Slashed some area, looking great. And I dragged a big log. We had an old telegraph pole up there. I've dragged that across near the roadway. I'm going to use that later on, but that's something I'll probably do tomorrow or the next day. For now though, I thought I'd have some lunch. And then I'm going to spend the whole afternoon getting that track done. Like I said, I want to get down to that river today. So yeah, quick bite to eat, get the billy boiling, and then we'll head down to the river, start getting that track sorted. Well, we've had a casualty over the last couple of days. My awning. I hadn't quite done the velcros up right. It had been damaged in the wind a little bit as well, but looks like the water's pooled there and it's just collapsed it. So the frame's pretty badly twisted up and bent up, but I'm thinking I've cut that timber with a timber mill, so maybe I can brace this, fix it up a bit. We'll see how we go. I mean, the canvas is still really good on top, so it's just the it's just that framework that's all buggered, so we'll see what we can do anyway. One of the things I found out over the last few days is that in addition to the pepperberry, there's actually several other bush tucker, bush foods plants that grow wild, native ones that grow wild here on the block. I've found a few, taken some photos, done some research. This is one of them. This is what they call, I think it was an Australian red currant plant. And I'll put the correct botanical name and everything on the screen. It grows these tiny little red berries, and they are very small little red berries. And that's bush food, you can eat that. So I'll have to look up some recipes for those. And as I find the other ones, I'll show you them as well. just spotted my first wild deer. It's not on my property, it's on the next door neighbour's property. Let's go see. It's just straight ahead of the road there. There he goes, little spiker. There he is, little spiker. And he's running, those trees are in my property. He's running into my property, so that confirms deer on my property, hell yes. I don't know if you can see it. It's right out there between the trees. So he didn't actually make it onto my property, because that's my property there. But deers jump little fences like this, so I'm sure they will jump. And here's the cows. Hello cows. How are we doing today? There's Hamish over there. Hello. Good to see that the little black calf is still doing well. Come on then. Ginger thinking about coming over for a look. Just thought I'd pop up and check them on the way home. Make sure they're alright, make sure their water's fine. Their water's plenty fine. Looks to me like we've got an issue with the float bowl, because that's overflowing. I need to fix that, because that's going to get very boggy and it's a waste of water. So I'll take a look at that right now. The little black calf's having a drink off mum. So I've just taken the float valve off. I'm not sure if you had a see in there. There's a lot of crud in the back. So I need to pull this apart and rinse all that gunk out. That's why it was still running. Hello. Hello, how are you? Hello. It's okay. Good girl. She thought I was going to give her something to eat. I'm guessing that's why she left when I didn't have a carrot for her. What? What's the matter? Aren't those two little babies adorable? Good to see everyone's doing well. Well, look at the day that we've got today. The river down there is absolutely gorgeous. So it's nice when you can just throw your kayak in from the backyard, so that's what I'm going to do. It's finally time. I took a little bit of time out. I'm going to go for a paddle up the river. I'll bring you along and go and see what we can see. I'll throw a line in, might even get lucky and catch something. Well, how beautiful a day is this. It's nice to be out on the water, and the water's so crystal clear at the moment, it's amazing. So you can see from the drone footage just how close we actually are to the ocean. When the tide's running out, the water gets quite murky sometimes, especially if there's been a lot of rain with all that fresh water flowing through. But when the tide turns, we get this beautiful crystal clear water, sea water coming through. Like, I'd jump in right now and snorkel if it wasn't so cold. It's absolutely beautiful. So with that viz, hopefully we might even get a fish. I don't even know what sort of fish we're going to catch up in the estuary here. I know there's flathead. There could be all manner of other stuff too. Apparently there's trout as you paddle further up. And then there's a weir. I'm not sure how far up the weir is, but we'll get to that. So I would have loved to have brought the drone along. Showed you a little bit of the aerial footage further up into the gorge. But not when I'm running from a kayak. It's a little bit too risky with $2,500 worth of drones, so might save that for another day. Maybe when I buy a tinny or something we might do that. Anyway, let's go for a paddle and see what we can do. Well, first fish on. That didn't take long, only a couple of minutes. I didn't even realise I had one on. I thought I might have hit the bottom. I just pulled the lure in to clear it. But looks like it might be a little salmon of some sort. Let's have a look. Well, better let him go. It's too small to keep, and the first fish gets let go anyway. Fish number 2 on. Let's see what we got here. Bugger, got off. I could feel it fighting, it was there. Damn. should have mentioned before, we're paddling on the Blythe River. For those of you who have been following the channel right from the start, you'll know that our property sits on the banks of the Blythe River. That's our 300 acres. It has 2.7 kilometres of river frontage to the Blythe, but that's right up in the hills about a half an hour from here. Our rental, as you saw earlier on, that's also on the Blythe River, but right near the mouth. Kind of ironic. So we're paddling up the Blythe River. It hasn't taken long to get up into this dark, brackish water. So now we're into that real tannin stained. It's predominantly, I'd say, more fresh than salt up here at the moment. And we're probably about an hour and 15 from the top of the tide. So I'm not sure how much salt water really makes it this far up. Mind you, it's only taken me 30 minutes of casual paddling, stopping for the couple of fish. One I landed, one I lost. You can see the banks, it's all very much just tea tree growing right into the water. And then behind that, beautiful big tall eucalypts. You can't see it, but over on my right, where I first started this little section, it's quite an embankment going up the side, whereas out that way it looks a lot lower flat ground. At the moment I've got the tide going with me and I've got the wind at my back, so it's making paddling very easy. We'll see how far up we get. We'll see if we get to the weir or not. I have no idea how far up the weir is. There was a couple of kayakers I saw paddle past the house maybe 20 minutes before I got in. I haven't seen them yet, so they're still obviously heading upstream. But if and when I pass them, I'll ask them whether they know and whether they might have even gone up to the weir. But we'll check it out. I might swap some lures and go for some more freshwater lures shortly. It's more about exploring today than catching a fish. Catching a fish is just a bonus. It's just absolutely amazing to be out here on this river. It's just so scenic. It's incredible. All right, on again. See if I land this one. Feels like it's still on. And it looks like it's another one of those little salmon. I think they're in a little Australian salmon, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, quite pretty little thing. See if I can get that light a bit better. There we are. So yeah, just a little Australian salmon, I think. We'll let him go. Still good fun. The river's really starting to close in now. Starting to get quite narrow. So far I've had 4 hits, landed 2 fish. I think they're all those little herring. They're voracious, considering they're not much bigger than the lure. Well, I'm obviously up past the point of salt water, because even though it's still an hour until high tide, the water up here is flowing out. So this must be just pretty much all fresh water now. So if I hook anything from here on, it'll be interesting to see what it is. You can see it's getting quite steep on the left now. Here come those other kayakers. So I'll ask them about the weir. I won't film it though, because you just never know what people are like about that sort of thing. So I'll turn this off now and have a chat with them. Well, we are well and truly up into the fresh now, that's for sure. You can see the vegetation changing quite a lot. We've got these tree ferns now. And those guys reckon I'm only about 20 minutes, half an hour from the weir. I'm about 2/3 of the way up already. So I've also changed lures. I've changed to ironically, what they call a Tassie Devil. It's a freshwater lure designed for catching trout. And I've heard that there are trout up here, so fingers crossed, let's hope I catch a trout. That would be really good. Truly is a stunning river, this one, as I'm sure they all in Tasmania are. Well, I got all excited. That was the first fish to hook on the Tassie Devil, right up here in the fresh water. I thought that's got to be a little trout. Anyway, turns out it's another one of these little herring. He just came off. And he's just another little herring, or a roughie I think they call them. So we'll let him go. And onto another fish. Probably another one of these little herrings. Yeah, another little herring. I'm surprised that they're so far up here into the fresh. I thought these were a saltwater fish. There's an indication that we must be getting close to the weir. Foam. As the water tumbles over the weir, it'll cause that foam. So hopefully we're getting pretty close. Well, there's the weir. I reckon I could drag my kayak up over that and keep going for a little bit. It's only 3:15. I think that's a splendid idea. Only a little weir. Well, that's good we made the weir. I'll get out and stretch my legs. I think I'll flick a few lures around, see what I can catch above the weir, hopefully get away from all those little herring. They were fun though. It turns out that there is a road as well. The road comes in just behind me up here. So I'll have to find out how to get down that road. We might be able to drop the kayaks in here and just do a nice leisurely downstream paddle, Kay and I. We'll sort that out. Anyway, I'm going to do a little bit of fishing. I flicked the lure around a little bit, but I'll be honest, I'm keen to explore further up that river. And I can fish while I'm paddling up the river anyway. It's 3:30 now, which means we're top of the tide. Not that that worries us too much up here. If I go and spend half an hour paddling up and down the river here, and then get back onto this side and start heading down, at least by the time I'm getting further down into the lower reaches, tide will be running out, and that'll make going easier. So I'm going to drag the kayak up over this weir. We'll go and see what's further up. Okay, so here we are now above the weir. Let's get cracking before we get swept over it. Doesn't take long for that noise of the weir to disappear. a trout jumping right there. See if he does it again. No. I've seen several trout jumping, breaching up through here. Probably a lot more that I'm not seeing. So I think I might have to get up here with the fly rod one day. At least at the moment there seems to be a lot of surface activity. Don't know if you can hear that, the black cockatoos off in the distance, screeching. River's starting to get narrower and faster. Starting to see gravel beds everywhere. And that looks like the first main set of rapids just up ahead there. So I might end up calling this the the turnaround point, I think. It's getting on a bit in the day. I could drag it through the rapids and then go up further, but I think I'll save that for another day. And I'm battling just to paddle against the current right here, so I think we'll wrap it up and turn around and start heading back. Well, I'm back down below the weir now. I'm surprised at just how quickly the tide's dropped up here. It's dropped by a good 3 feet already. We're only about an hour and a half, 90 minutes after the top of the high tide, so it does change very quickly. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed seeing this part of the river. I've had a fantastic time exploring it. It's been beautiful. I'm keen to get up there and explore even further next time, or maybe take a different rod. But I need to push on because I need to get back before the tide gets too low. Otherwise it's going to make things very awkward getting out at the house. I may have to go down a little bit further. That is seeping from underground because there's no water up there above the ground. It must be running across the bedrock in underneath all the soil and dripping out down here. It'll be pure fresh water. You can see that very distinct high water mark there. So we are 2 hours after the top of the tide. Top of the tide was supposed to be 3:30. It's now 5:30. And it's already dropped there. That must be a good 4 foot, I reckon. Maybe 5. Anyway, let's continue. Well, I'm just around the last bend from home now. Sun's getting low. It is beautiful. But that's it. It's been a really interesting afternoon. Not bad for a little over 4 hours. I've really loved it, so I'm keen to get back out here again. But tomorrow I'm back onto the property. Got more work to do up there. Need to get up there and slash the big paddock. Anyway, have a good one, and I'll see you shortly. I just thought I'd quickly show you guys how I'm carting everything along to get this track cut, because there is a reasonable amount of stuff that I need, and I actually don't have everything with me yet. But you'll see there, I've got one of those fridge trolley, you might call it, just the trolleys that you use for moving household furniture around. And I've put a milk crate on that, ratcheted it on, got everything I need in that. The chainsaw fits in there, machete, bottles of drinking water, my backpack, all the camera gear, tripod, all goes on that. And then I just drag that along 50 meters or so, and then clear another 50 meters, and then drag it up a bit further. It's still not great because a lot of this track is very uneven. I'm walking along on a slope like that, which means the trolley keeps wanting to roll down the hill. A wheelbarrow probably would have been better, to be honest, because I can actually, it's only got the one point of reference, the one wheel touching the ground, not the two. So I might even invest in getting a wheelbarrow at some point and using that to cart everything through. But anyway, we're making ground through there, and my estimate, we haven't got too much further to get down to the river, so I'll just keep on cracking on. Okay, well, I've just spent the last 4 hours or so clearing the last 150 meters of track, and I wasn't giving up without a fight. That last 150 meters was the toughest part of the track, as luck would have it. There's a lot of very steep area that I've had to try and get through, a lot of very thick growth that I've had to just machete my way through. I've just done a quick count. There's still about 27 or 28 logs that I need to get the chainsaw onto. Once I get those last few logs out, that'll be great. But point is, I made the river and I was ecstatic about that. Here we go, got another log to get over. Okay. That sun's in a bad spot, isn't it? Yeah, so I made the river, which was awesome. I don't mind saying, I was that hot. I stripped down to my jocks. I went in up to my knees, splashed water all over my head and the back of my neck. I was thinking about sitting in it, but it's a bit cold. It is icy cold. Anyway, here's some of the track. I'll show you. All right. So I'm just heading down there now, and I had to come back to get the camera gear. Literally all of this last bit I've just done with a machete. Just the machete. So at least now I've got a track in place. I can come back and work on it, bring a shovel, cut some stairs into some of this real steep area. See, got to cut that log out the way. Logs everywhere to be cut out the way. But for now, I'm going to get down to the river, have another little break, have a bite to eat and a rest, do a little bit of filming, and then I think we'll call it a wrap for this episode. Oh, let me just show you one thing. That's the track to the river. Let me show you what I found over here. This I was very impressed with. This is while I was looking for a track, how to get through. Now I could hear a noise up here. So I'll come up here and have a look. It's quite steep up through there. It's like a bit of a cave. Let's go check that out. So made my way up through here. Up onto this rock. Oops. I'm on my hands and knees crawling at the moment. And look at this. Isn't this just amazing? Like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. And the water's just flowing out from underneath this big boulder into this cave. It's like a little spa. Absolutely incredible. I'm thinking I might even run some pipes from further up and put a little shower head up there. You could make it like a little stand-up shower in there. It would be amazing in the summertime. But yeah, just incredible. I'll have to come back with a torch and check some of these grottos up here. Goes right back up in there, crack up over the top here. Funny, down in here it smells like mothballs. So I don't know if that's due to some sort of mold or fungus that grows down here, or animals, if there's bats up in there. But simply incredible. Alright, back on the truck again. Over this one, under these two. probably shaky as anything, but that's just because of how rough and steep it is down through here. Step over another one. I can hear the river. This is the last little bit. I'm going to come down through here. Got a few logs to sort out through here. Chop all these up. Alright, this is just the creek that we've been following down. Doesn't take long to walk the track, but I tell you what, when you're clearing the track, it took me hours. Alright, hold your breath. Oh. Here we are at the Blythe River. There's one spot of the 2.7 kilometres of this river that we have. And if you think that area there looks pretty stunning, check this out. How about that? It gives me chills. That's just awesome. That's so beautiful. Very scenic, Jesse. Alright, I'm going to have some lunch. I'm going to get the drone up. Well, that's it for another episode. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I've certainly had a ball making this one. Got to do some very cool stuff, even though I worked my ass off. It was still very good, very rewarding. And you know, everyone's going to get to reap the benefits of that hard work on that track, because they're going to be able to get down to the river in 20 minutes and experience this beautiful area behind me. I'm looking forward to just being able to take a walk down here and throw a line in, boil the kettle or something. Should be really nice. But anyway, that's it for me. Hope you have a great weekend. Please share, like and subscribe, as they always say at the end of these videos. It does help the channel. And let's try and see if we can share this to plenty of other people. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would be very interested in what we're doing up here. I'm more than happy to share the knowledge. Try and put some really good little tidbits in every now and then when I can, things that will benefit everyone. So till then, as I said, have a great weekend. Thanks very much. I'll see you on the next one.